As Jyotish said, we did a satsang this morning, and it was really marvelous. It was translated into Russian, Serbian, Croatian, Italian, Spanish, French, German, and I might be forgetting some little ones in there, and they were all disciples of masters, members of Ananda. And it was so thrilling because one could feel the legacy, the living legacy of Master, that it isn't just a book, it isn't just an organization, it's his, as we've been saying, it's his living presence that's planted in each one of our hearts. As we were meditating, I was just remembering my life, and really when I came to Ananda in 1969, I didn't know why I was coming exactly. I kind of was interested in meditation and yoga. But over the years, I've come to realize the destiny that I had and that each one of us have, no matter what difficulties we go through. And I remember as quite a little girl, I couldn't read yet, but looking at a magazine of my father's, and there was a picture of Master. And I remember just looking at that. It must have been an ad for autobiography. And I was so captivated. Is that a man? Is that a woman? And, I was little. And then years went by, and I remember I was in high school, and I had a class in world literature, and the teacher was a member, she was a Westerner, but a member of the Vedanta Society. She said, you all should go. So I remember one Sunday, some of my girlfriends and I went to hear this little Swami speak, and his accent was so thick we couldn't understand a word he said, but it was like a memory. This is so familiar, I know this. And then, again, this all was coming clear during the meditation for me. And then I remember reading autobiography, coming to Ananda. But then I remembered living, the first 6 years I lived here, I lived alone in a little trailer. And I remember making a little cardboard altar. I found a little piece of material, and I glued Master's picture on it and the different gurus, and I had that in my little trailer, very funky little trailer. But as we were meditating, that image was so powerful of that little cardboard altar that I had made, 46 years ago, something like that. And I just thought, step by step, you've been there. And I didn't know, I didn't recognize. I thought I was alone. I thought I was finding my own way, but I never was finding my own way. You were always there, always guiding me. And it's the living legacy of the masters, that even though you just think, oh, I don't meditate very well, or I don't know, however we put ourselves down. There's that beautiful poem by Elizabeth Barrett Browning, How Do I Love Thee? Let Me Count the Ways. And she goes on to her beloved husband, the poet Robert Browning. But we can do it in reverse. How do I fault myself? Let me count the ways. And all the things we can think about, negative things about ourselves, it just doesn't matter. God doesn't see any of that. He's always there from when we're little, and believe me, none of you would be in this room if Master, not one of you, if Master hadn't called you. Even though you didn't know it, there was a silent call, but somehow we followed it, and here we are now. And so just like in the satsang this morning, at the end, we said each of our devotion is so important, but when we joined together, it was a very powerful moment when people from all those different countries were sending out Master's blessings for world peace. And when we join together, as Master kept saying in his little talk, his excerpt from the talk, I should say, the family, we're brothers and sisters in God, and that's the power of how we carry forward Master's legacy, his living presence. You know, he said when Gyanamata died, his most advanced woman disciple, he was speaking of her, and he said her way was, her main characteristic was wisdom. Master said, mine is bliss. And Swami called him a bliss avatar. And then, of course, he's also said, when people said, how can we carry on after you leave? And he said, when I am gone, only love can take my place. And so bliss and love, bliss avatar, prem avatar, both. And that's what we have to remember and live it, no matter what happens. Just to say, I will be a child of this Prem avatar, of this bliss avatar, and I will share that to the full extent that I am capable of with everyone, no matter what's happening around me. And so I hope we can leave the temple tonight with a reassurance of Master's awareness of our lives, awareness of our struggles, and his indifference to all that. All he cares about is our awakening, our being channels for his bliss and love. And as we go forth, let's live that as much as we can, moment by moment. Never forget, never forget. And of course it'll diminish, but then cling to it, because really that's why you took this incarnation, for no other reason. Yeah, there's karma to work out here and there, but it's not that important. Just as Master was saying, father, mother, friends, it's just all God. And this community is a stage. Ananda is a stage on which we can live our lives in devotion and service to God. That's all it is. The building and the this and the that and the planning and all, it's all great. But that's not why our souls came. Our souls came to live in Master's bliss, so let's never forget that. And so now, before we invite you to come up and offer your devotion and ask Master's blessings too, sincerely and deeply, that he carry you ever more in awareness, carry you forward in ever more awareness of his bliss and his love.